Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to bring a 3-game NBA main slate on Tuesday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. If you're unable to watch these YouTube videos, I also upload on Apple Podcasts. I have a link down below. It's called the DKDFS Show. And if you have an extra minute or two, if you could, Sorry about that. Leave a 5-star rating and review. That would help me out a ton, boost me up in those Apple Podcast rankings. And if you're interested in signing up for premium content, up for 3 different packages on patreon.com, NBA, NFL, and esports package. And the sponsor of today's video, as it has been for a while now, is Prize Picks. If you're not, this is your first time watching, Prize Picks is a player prop site where you can take over-under on fantasy points or over-under on straight-up points, rebounds, assists, and three-pointers made. So they already have some stuff posted for the single stat on NBA. The fantasy score stuff will probably be posted later tonight, if not early tomorrow. But if you guys do want to try out Prize Picks, make sure to sign up and use my code DKDFS. It's DKDFS, all one word. I will link down below. We'll get a 100% match up to $100. So if you deposit using my code $100, you'll get a free $100 to play with on the site. And finally, I want to thank you guys again for all of your support. For everyone coming and checking out the live stream today. Really do appreciate it, guys. So make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you do know when I upload and go live. I'll be doing a YouTube live stream tomorrow, so make sure to check that one out. Okay, so before we get into players and the prices for this 3-game slate, let's look back my lineup here from tonight. So tonight, NFL went really well for me, and NBA, back to back. I'm going back to back, guys. No, not back to back takedowns. No. None of that. Back to back ejections. Back to back ejections, both players at low ownership. Oubre last night, Anthony Davis tonight. Really? So, my lineup here, Rubio, Hero, Duncan Robinson, Davis, Stedman, Hero, Talon Horton, Tucker, and Levine. Obviously, the blowout hurt, too. Levine got pulled. I was really high on Patreon. I was hammering on Levine, DeRozan, the Bulls guys. I just love the matchup. And obviously, the blowout hurt them. DeRozan got pulled with like 7 minutes to go. Levine with like 4 minutes to go or whatever it was. So they could have both probably. DeRozan could have gone for like 60. Levine could have gone for 50 plus. So that was a little bit unfortunate, but quick little story time here. I was tilting about Rubio on Twitter because he had 5 fantasy points at half. I was just like, are you kidding me? And then someone tweets back and it's like, oh, really? Like, Cade was the obvious play. Come on. This is like, okay, bro. Okay, you're winning all the money. I think his name is Skeets McGee. Skeets McGee, he's the best player in the world, guys. Cade was such an obvious play. But let me to add on to that. I have played Cade, I think, the last 3 or 4 slates, and he's been awful. And like tonight, I finally don't have him, and he goes off. It's just like, is this just like a meme now? Is this just like guaranteed to happen no matter what? Like I continue to play a player, and when I finally fade like McGee, they go off like Cade tonight. I'm just looking at it. I'm just like, I'm just numb. Like this just happens to me every single day. And it's the downside of playing one lineup. Obviously, building 150 lineups and, setting exposures, I wouldn't have to tilt about this. But, most people playing DFS only play one lineup. So, I tend to focus my content a little bit more towards single entry. Obviously, I help out. I still have people that play 150 lineups and stuff. But like the majority of DFS players are only playing one lineup a night. And I think a lot of content out there is geared towards people playing 150. But yeah, it's just like, okay, sweet. Lowry busting. I mean, that was just a floor game from him without Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. I'll play him in that spot every time. 40% ownership in this one. He was even higher owned in the Thunderdome. It was close with him and Dinwiddie. I was talking about this on Patreon. It was close. The reason I preferred Lowry to Dinwiddie was Lowry was, was able to play more minutes, right? Lowry can play 40 minutes, where Dinwiddie, they were just capping him at 30 no matter what. So that was my reasoning for going Lowry over Dinwiddie. It was close. I just went there for the minutes, and obviously it didn't work out. But that was my thought process there. So yeah, that's it for the look back. And then again, going over ownership in the Thunderdome. So it was really condensed. Hero 100%, Talen Horton-Tucker 87%, Porzingis 12%. So I liked Porzingis as a pivot off of Chalky Mobley. Now, if you played Evan Mobley tonight, you got insanely unlucky because he was a really good play, and he was someone I was very scared about fading. He shot 0 of 11. How does a big shoot 0 of 11 without Jared Allen? So if you're tilting Evan Mobley, I 100% feel you because he was a good play. Yeah, I liked I would talk about Porzingis' pivot off Mobley for ownership purposes, and that actually ended up really working well. Porzingis went smashed at no ownership. Dedmon 100% owned. Again, no surprise there. Anthony Davis was about 40% owned. It was him and Jokic with the two expensive studs. That's no surprise. Jokic almost 100%. Again, yeah, Mobley was said 50% owned. Let's see, what else was there? Well, who did Petty Theft play? He played John Collins, which I thought was a little bit of a surprise, but he also played Dean Wade, which I thought was interesting, 12%. But yeah, that was it for the look back, guys. Again, this was the winning lineup in the Thunderdome. They won with Anthony Davis. That's pretty impressive. And that's it for the look back for myself. So hope you guys had a good night. Hope you avoided the ejections. I have not. I have had a player now ejected back-to-back nights. So let's fingers crossed. Hopefully we don't make it 3 in a row. I would very much enjoy not having an ejection 3 straight nights. So let's see. Do we have the Vegas odds? Oh, I think we have, all 3 games are up. So Warriors and Nets at 220 over under. The Nets are 2.5-point favorites. 76ers and Jazz at 218 over under. The Utah Jazz 8.5-point favorites, and Spurs and the Clippers at 219.5 over under. The Clippers 6.5-point favorites. We'll start off with the Warriors. And this is, I guess they're all around 220 as far as the Vegas totals. So they're all about the same. But yeah, we'll start at the top with Steph Curry at 10.9K. The price is coming down a little bit on him. Like, he was 11K plus the last 3 slates. Now he's sub 11K, 10.9K. He still has a relatively low floor, Steph Curry, but the ceiling is as high as anyone. We saw that 4 games ago. So I do like Steph a good amount on a small slate just because the upside he presents. Just know, he can still disappoint. Steph Curry can go for 45 fantasy points, 40 fantasy points. It's possible, right? He does have that floor. Wiggins at 6'5", had a good game last game. He's played pretty well of late. Minutes, he's hovering, around low 30s in competitive games. So I think he's just a fine option. Doesn't really stand out to me. I think I would prefer Draymond, even though, Wiggins has played a little bit better of late. The minutes aren't as high in Draymond and Wiggins as I would hope. You would hope those guys are playing 35-plus minutes, but playing 30 to 32, even in a competitive game. This game was competitive, and Draymond only played 32 minutes. There was a bunch of blowouts, but, that was a little bit worrisome. Now, maybe, in a big matchup against the Nets, against Kevin Durant, maybe Draymond plays a little bit more. Again, relatively up-tempo game, and Draymond does have triple-double upside, so I think he's a pretty safe play at that price. A Jordan Poole I like in tournaments at 5.9K. The minutes have been pretty secure now for him. Last 4, 5, 6 games, playing around 30. He can take over at times. He's a guy that can get hot, but obviously a second fiddle to Steph Curry. And then below Poole, it's just, they run so many guys. I just hate the Steve Kerr rotation. Gary Payton will get some minutes. He's probably going to play 15 to 20 minutes. He's sub 4K. He's in play for value. Kevon Looney at 3.5. The minutes have actually ticked up a little bit on him. 20 plus the last 3. He's not the best point per minute guy, but at this price point, he doesn't need a lot to get you there. And then you have guys like Porter, Bielitsa. Their minutes are a little bit up and down, but these guys are relatively productive when they're out on the court. So they're always in play as larger field tournament plays. Damian Lee, the minutes have been going down on him and up on Poole. He is only 3.2K, so not completely out of play on a short slate. And then Iguodala is the last guy I'll mention. He had a bad game last game, but he's been playing probably the most minutes off the bench, 25-ish in a competitive game, 20-25. So, yeah, you're really not going to feel good about anyone besides below Jordan Poole on the Warriors. But there are some guys that are in play. It's just, God, I wish he would just trim down this rotation. It makes it a headache for DFS purposes, especially in a small slate where we actually had to consider these guys, right? In a large slate, it's like, just forget about it. But on a 3-gamer, it's like, all right, we got to talk about them. Moving on to the Nets. So James Harden, Kevin Durant at the top, 10.6 and 10.3K respectively. I like them both. I don't have a super strong lean on which one I prefer. Both are going to play like 35-ish minutes in a competitive game, and both are going to be very, very high usage. Both are good at stuff in the stat sheet. Harden will handle the ball a decent amount. And then Kevin Durant's obviously a guy that can get the rebounds, the block shots as well. So, yeah, I think both net stars look pretty good at their respective price points. Aldridge continues to smash. It's just, I'm never going to get over that the first game of the season. I will never get over that. But, yeah, he continues to play low 20s minutes and play really, really well. The only downside I'll say here is this is a small ball Golden State team. So maybe his minutes go down a little bit. But yeah, LMA, 30-plus fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 games. I think he's a pretty decent value play. Now, pretty big news actually here is Joe Harris is out. He was playing like in a competitive game like over 30 minutes. So those minutes have to go somewhere. Patty Mills started the second half last game. He played over 30 minutes. Now, he was like shooting lights out, 10 of 16. So we probably don't get that great of shooting again from Patty Mills. But if he picks up the start at only 3.8K, I think he's viable. I think there's possibly more minutes for a guy like Bruce Brown at 4.2K, who I think is fair value. And then it's like, all right, who else are going to give minutes to? For some reason, Steve Nash likes playing Javon Carter, so I think Javon Carter might get some minutes at the flat min price. It's going to be interesting to see who they start. Do they want to keep bringing Patty Mills to the bench? So maybe they start Javon Carter. Cam Thomas, the rookie, I think he's a solid player, but it doesn't look like they want him in the regular rotation yet. So, yeah, monitor that starting lineup there for the Nets. And then Blake Griffin at 4K, like, he's going to play, 25 minutes or so in a competitive game. I think a relatively safe value play at only 4K. Okay, Philadelphia and Utah, so still no Embiid, obviously still no Ben Simmons, and Danny Green is out along with Matisse Thybulle. So we'll start with Andre Drummond at 8.7K. I think the ownership is going to be very, very low in a 3-game slate. But this is Andre Drummond. Even in a tough matchup, this is a guy that can put up 50 fantasy points. We saw it, 4 and 3 games ago, he went for 50-plus fantasy points. So the upside is still there. Yes, this is not a good matchup, but I think Drummond's a fine contrarian spend up on this one. Same thing with Tobias Harris at 8.5. He went for 50-plus last game. Like, he's playing big minutes, and he's going to be pretty high usage. But hard for me to prioritize either of these guys in a matchup against Utah. Same thing I said about Maxey. Like, he's playing 43 minutes. He's just playing as many minutes as he can handle. But the price point of the matchup is just like all 3 of the top price guys in Utah are, in my opinion, more contrarian options, secondary plays. And then Danny Green being out, we'll see what they do with the starting lineup. Do they move Korkmaz in the starting lineup? That would be my guess, that Korkmaz starts. If he does start at 4.6K, he is viable. However, won't be as high usage as previous games when they're missing a lot of guys. Plus, again, like I said, not the best matchup. So that'll be one to keep an eye on. But yeah, Seth Curry, you kind of know what Seth Curry is, right? He's going to play 35-ish minutes, and he's very, very reliant on the scoring. Shake Milton at 5K. I think I only play him if he starts. And again, I would think they start Korkmaz for Danny Green. And then Yang at 4-1. He'll come off the bench and play low to mid-20s minutes, but it's just a secondary play. Okay, on the Utah side. So Utah, when they're fully healthy, you guys know, no one ever really stands out. I think Mitchell probably my favorite play still at 8.6K. Should play 35 minutes in a close game. A guy that does have 50-plus fantasy point upside. So Mitchell's probably my favorite option. Gobert against a bigger front court here is probably going to play low 30s minutes. The price has slowly come down on him. I think another safe option. But below that, it's all kind of secondary options like Conley, Bogdanovich, Clarkson, O'Neal, Ingles. These guys never stand out to me. They never do, unless there's someone injured. And then I'll mention Whiteside at 4-1 on a small slate. He's probably going to play 15-ish minutes off the bench. He's a good point per minute guy, and he doesn't need a ton to pay off the salary. So I think Whiteside's a solid tournament play. Finally, the Spurs and the Clippers. So still no Jakob Poeltl. DeJounte Murray has been phenomenal this year. He's playing big minutes. He went for a triple-double last game. He's a guy that's, again, stuff in the stat sheet. So I don't know if he's going to be super popular with some of the other stars in the slate, but I'm perfectly fine paying 9.5K for Dejounte Murray. Kind of weird to say that. Keldon Johnson at 6K is just kind of fine. Like, he'll play 30-ish minutes or so and probably get around 30 fantasy points. Derek White is taking a step back usage-wise. His minutes have also come, or his usage. I felt a sneeze coming there. Sorry, guys. His minutes and usage are coming down a little bit here. 5.4K doesn't really stand out. Still, again, no Jakob Poeltl, so Thad Young and Eubanks are going to fill the middle. Thad Young probably plays 25, 26 minutes. Eubanks will start. I kind of like the price on Thad Young. He's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet, and I think he's a pretty safe play. I don't think he's going to kill you. Does have a little bit of upside, so I like Thad. Vassell off the bench has been pretty good. 30 minutes back-to-back games. He's been shooting the ball well. The only issue is, kind of reliant in the scoring, but 4.7K in a small slate, he's viable. I mentioned Eubanks too, right? These two are going to split the center position. He probably plays 22 to 24 minutes. And yeah, he's a little bit cheaper. He's 4.4K, but he is only center eligible. And center is, again, the opportunity cost. What's the opportunity cost of going someone, putting him in the center spot? And then finally, I'll talk about a couple of guys here. Lonnie Walker, minutes have been trending down on him a little bit, but the price is also really, really cheap. So in a large field tournament, he's in play. McDermott, I hate playing this guy, but he's also getting minutes. He's going to play probably 25 minutes. He has to hit his shots though. So the floor is low. If I have a feeling that McDermott's going to be popular tomorrow, then I'm going to fade. But if I don't think he's going to get a ton of ownership, then I'm fine to go to McDermott. Just know, if you play Doug McDermott, he can go for 5 fantasy points in 25 minutes. That's the type of floor he has. And finally, the LA Clippers. So Paul George, 10.2K. I think one of the safer spend-ups on the board because the minutes he plays, the fact that he stuffs the stat sheet, and I like the matchup here against the Spurs. So I think Paul George, all in all, a pretty safe spend-up. Of the two guards, Reggie and Bledsoe, the minutes have really been up on Bledsoe recently. 31, 40, and 26 in the blowout, 36 in that last most competitive game. So I'm fine paying 5.2K for Bledsoe if he's going to continue to play 35 minutes. Reggie Jackson, the minutes have been there for him, but he's been a little more reliant on the scoring. And then Batum, 5K. He'll play over 30 minutes. He's not going to do a ton in the offensive end, but he's fine and stuff in the stat sheet. So, again, just more of a filler option there. Avicii Zubac at 4.9K. My only issue is the Spurs kind of go small, right? So, I don't know if they close with Zubac. If I was, confident Zubac was going to play 30 minutes, I would like him a good amount at this price point, but I'm not confident in that. Relatively big news here is Terrence Mann's questionable. He was playing around 30 minutes a game. If he can't go, Luke Kennard probably plays more. He would be a potential value at only 4K. Again, though, with him, he has to hit his shots to get value, but he probably gets more opportunity. And then Ibaka, is he still in the G League? Monitor that one. If Ibaka's still in the G League, then Hartenstein's going to play the backup 5 and play around 15 minutes. And he's been very, very good as a fantasy point per minute guy. So he would be a good GPP play if Ibaka is still in the G League. All right, guys, that is going to do it for the video. So if you have been enjoying the content, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Let's try to aim for 125 likes on this video, guys. Would really, really appreciate it. Thanks again. Have a great night, and I will see you guys tomorrow in the live stream.